Flash is brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fee.
Hi there, thanks for staying with us here on the show. As Prime Morning, it's time for us to get into News Flash here on the show. It's proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise, Still Phones, Papa Pafi, Koa Natural Fruit Juice, also supporting us this morning here on the show. I'd like to say a big thank you to these brands. And of course, you can walk into any shop and once you get to Franco Trading Enterprise, any of the branches, you can pick up a lot of things. So we're talking about your phones, your cameras, your CCTV cameras, your televisions, your microwaves, your blenders, any home appliance that you need. Franco Trading Enterprise has got you. Air conditionings, we can also give you all of that and even more. So make sure you download the app. The app is Franco Trading app, and you get to find everything you need, when it comes to Franco Trading Enterprise. And also the discounts we've got for you, the branches, all of that you can find once you download the app. You can also visit our website. It's www.francotrading.com, and that's where you can also get all the info from. Franco Trading Enterprise says still phones Papa Pafi is your best bet. You definitely want to be there today and also pick something. Don't forget that we've got some discounts for you, so you never can tell. Once you walk in there, you can just be very, very, very lucky to pick something on a discount. All right, so yes, please make your way there and check into any of our branches. And of course, we're also asking you to enjoy the very best when it comes to cocoa here in Ghana, and Koa Natural Fruit Juice is proudly Ghanaian. It's made right here in Ghana, and every one that you buy goes a long way to motivate the Ghanaian cocoa farmer because it's made from the pods of cocoa. And the good thing about this is the fact that anytime that you are also, getting yourself involved in any activity and you want to make sure that you quench your thirst, the only thing you can think about is Koa Natural Fruit Juice. It's healthy, it's the best on the market, it's a family thing. Don't get it alone. Make sure that you spread it around for everybody to also have a taste of it. Koa Natural Fruit Juice, we say do right sip by sip. And this morning we've got a few of the newspapers over here. I've got my guest seated as well. We're looking at the major issue that has come up this week, and I'm sure a lot of you out there would like to share your opinion on that. You can go on our Facebook page. We're streaming live. You can share your thoughts over there. Our WhatsApp line is also active. You can also share your thoughts on it. Petition to actually remove the EC, the OSP leadership has actually failed after the CJ found out there's no prima facie. We'll be looking at that conversation. Also, if we have time, Cocoa Board is paying 237 million Ghana cedis to cocoa farmers for 50,000 tons, and that's also come in the wake of slashing of salaries from top management to staff. We'll look at that conversation also here on the show as well. But let me introduce my guest in the studio. I'll look at the front page of the newspapers and then we get into it. Joining me this morning here, as always, is the lawyer Kwame Jantuah. He's a senior member for the CPP party, and he's always very excited about the party, and there's a reason why. It goes a long way. His father was good to see you.
As I keep saying, good morning to everybody. As I keep saying, I'm genetically CP.
Yes. Long-standing member.
Yes, genetically CP. I was born into it, so my father was in it when I was born, so there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
But we are building a nation. We're not building a political party.
Absolutely. Very, very, very important. Very, very, very important.
I will come up soon, don't worry.
Okay. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for your time.
You think it's impossible?
Oh, I think so.
The MPP were in oblivion for 30 years.
Yeah.
They came back.
Yeah. I believe so.
Yes.
It's just been long.
They didn't go through what we went through. We've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Both from the MPP and the NDC. You've been through a lot.
You need a united front.
Yes, that is what I have said.
Yeah.
You need a united front. All the splinter groups doesn't help.
Yeah.
Let's come together. It doesn't matter who's the leader. You just need to come together. And it's not a question of using Nkrumah, but looking at the good things he did and catapulting it into the future and see how best we can do it. Because the good things he did still pertain today.
Oh, yeah, that one, that's no shame.
And I keep saying nail factory. We had a nail factory. Nails.
Pioneer what? Or that day?
A lot of things we had that we can go back and replicate if we can't replicate all. The template is there. You don't need to, reinvent anything. Move forward and add the new things of today to what we knew. Then move. Rubber. You had nearly 220 acres of rubber. Matches. Use our bamboo matches.
Had a tie factory.
Tie factory. Akasanoma radio, televisions, air conditioners, fridges. We were doing all that. Then you come and tell me that we should name an airport after Kumeka? No, it's not possible.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. Begin time. Lawyer Kwame Jantuah is also here. He's the president of Accountability Forum. He's also a lawyer joining me this morning as well, bro. Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been how many years?
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years. But last time we met was at our brother's birthday.
Yeah, which was also my birthday as well.
Oh,
I mean, we had a good time.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Great stuff.
Yeah. And you had the first time we have met.
I've seen you several times.
You see me, but this is the first time we've met.
No, we've met.
Really?
Yeah, we've met.
And then you
but we'll talk about that.
Great.
No, he's matured.
Honorable Peter Kwachiaka is also here with me as well. He's the former MP for Memphis Central. Good to see you. And I hope
Thank you very much. I'm good. But there's a protest. Whenever you introduce lawyers, you say lawyers, so. But for engineers, there's no credential at all.
Honorable engineer.
That's why you all want to read law.
I know,
it's a good profession. A very good profession.
Lawyer Kwame says that
Let me ask you a question. How many lawyers have you heard say they are going abroad to look for work?
Lawyers.
What happens? Doctors say,
engineers also do so.
Lawyers, have you ever heard lawyers saying that because Abuja could pay Juma? No,
the reason why I'm not so much interested in law is that, somebody, the same story, somebody can say it's red, another one will say it depends on how you are able to
argue your case out.
Argue your case out. But for engineering, if it is white,
it's a straightforward thing. In short, until I have full chance. Anyway, let me do the front page of the newspapers real quick and then we'll move on. This one, Daily Guide says Maprobi polyclinic baby thief arrested, and the MPP set guidelines for internal elections. Away from that, the big story over there says CJ rejects petitions for EC bosses, SP removal, government to register churches, and Burkina Faso terrorist attack. Survivors airlifted home, 8 victims buried. That's the front page of the Daily Guide. Chronicle is here and it says EC bosses, SP survived the storm. CJ could not establish any prima facie case against them, and Ghana set sights on ending raw or exports. And that's the EC and the SP issue is one of the things that we're looking at this morning. Away from that, the new finder says policy rate could fall to 12.5% at next MPC meeting. Financial expert and BOG banks measures to strengthen sector capacity. And away from that, stronger primary balance signal fiscal gains. Commander Sugar Factory set to revival as government engages investors. We're looking forward to that as well. The overseer is here and it says that no justice for Sao as Jean Mensa and deputies survive the removal process. PBC reopens cocoa buying centers nationwide to restore confidence in cocoa sector, and they blame heavily the issues that is happening with Cocoa Board with regards to all the payments and everything to the former administration, and we'll be looking at that issue also here on the show. Forestry Commission honors 2 ICT pioneers for modernizing commission systems, and President Mahama visited Burkina Faso terror attack survivors at 37 military hospital, and the Cocoa Board pays 237 million to farmers for 50 tons as sector reforms deepen. This was one of the issues we're looking at. New Patriotic Party set September 1820 for national executive elections, and away from that, the insight is here, and it says Alban Bagbin, he says Ghana needs a third political force, and Iran condemns United States blockade of Cuba. Mahama consoles survivors of Burkina Faso terror attack at 37 military hospital, and tensions escalate between Niger and its former colonizer France. Away from that, JJ Rawlings Foundation mourns Sergeant Peter Tassiri, and don't yield to prejudice and stereotypes feed to women. Work progresses on new Thoracic Center at Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital. That's the insight this morning. The last one for me will be the News Guide Africa. And it says, the real governance at play. Chief Justice dismisses petitions to remove EC heads and special prosecutor. Gold board pauses regulatory arm to fast-track economic gains and reject foreign labels. Africa must define own critical minerals. Minerals Commission CEO speaks on that. Reset must begin with us. Fifi Kwete urges NDC to end business as usual. And fiscal milestone, GOG clears 10 billion Ghana cedis interest under DDEP. Well, that's the newspapers for this morning here. On Newsflash. Away from that, the Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni has ruled that there is no prima facie evidence to justify further investigation into petitions calling for the removal of the Electoral Commissioner, deputies, and the Special Prosecutor. This was confirmed by the Minister of Government Communications in a statement issued on Wednesday, February 18. The petitions were received by Jubilee House in late 2025, with the Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, confirming that 10 separate petitions had been filed under the constitutional removal process. And yesterday, we had this news coming through. I'm going to start off with lawyer Kwame Jantuah. Let me start with you, a very new on this. So this is your welcome address.
Absolutely.
His baptism.
Yes, very, very necessary. But a lot of people would say, maybe depending on which divide you belong to, you probably would say that you didn't see this coming. Because we've seen the first process, which was arguably one of the processes a lot of people thought it was controversially, in terms of the outcome of it, the results of it, because people felt that whether we like it or not, we're going to see this person go out of this position.
Yeah.
Another one came up, and unfortunately for those people, this is what the CJ is saying. You, a lawyer, you saw this coming.
Yeah. I'll be quite candid with you. I was on a platform, I believe, yesterday, and you get into the dying members of the show. Then the presenter decided to read the release by Felix Ofosu-Kwakye in relation to the petitions which were forwarded to His Excellency to action on same and the outcomes of it. When he started reading, I was a little upset. I was taken aback because I didn't want to go through the experience of, a cyclical process of always wanting to remove people who occupy, some institutions in this country, particularly because I am for protecting, institutional independence. So when he started reading, I was disinterested until it got to the latter part of the release. Then I noticed, okay, this has taken a different turn.
Yeah.
Before of course, constitutionally, the president is mandated to receive petitions.
Yeah.
And by reason of the constitution, Ghanaians, if they feel that somebody who has been given a constitutional right to operate is acting, not within the confines of law, they are at liberty to petition the president. The president must also, action on same, which is what he did. Now, to be able to establish that there's a prima facie evidence against anybody, it is instructive that, the evidence or whatever is contained in the petition is such that, it is incontrovertible, that it might lead to a high-level removal. Now, to be honest with you, did not really find merit. The petition I've seen, I've only seen one, I've not seen the rest, but I did not really find merit in them. I thought that it was more of, going after the EC, particularly because of, what occasioned, in the previous administration. So I really was a little skeptical about whether or not government was going to heed to the calls by many to remove, the current EC. But I am particularly elated that after looking at the petition and taking, into consideration all the grounds, the Chief Justice thought that it does not merit, any further process, and therefore they were going to advise the president on say which is what they have done. I'm very happy about it. I'm happy about it not because I don't think that subsequently, if anybody has any stronger grounds for the removal of.
They could equally also
they can't go forward with it. I think they should be able to go forward with it. But I'm particularly happy because of the political undertones that appeared to have found its way into the conversation. Because then we are saying that even if there is no evidence to suggest that somebody has committed, this offense stated in the Constitution, so whether stated misconduct, whether incompetence, and whether inability to perform by reason of infirmity of body or of mind, if those things, do not exist, we must deliberately force those things to exist, and then people on the basis of that. So I am simply saying that it gives me confidence that we have moved beyond the kind of politics that we were used to in the previous administration. That it is not in all cases that because of political expediency, we would want to take some actions which are injurious or which may be injurious or inimical to the forward march of this country. We pride ourselves as the beacon of democracy in the sub-region, and rightly so, because we have demonstrated over the period that in terms of even our politics, we have been very forward-looking and forward-thinking, that at all material times, we allow the processes to work, right? So I, think that in order to further that, we must be intentional going forward, that we must not always kowtow to the whims and caprices of political apparatchiks, or that because in our own view, something ought to have happened in a way and it did not go the way we wanted, we must take a different posture or a different position in relation to a subsequent, matter. So I'm happy that at least our democracy consistently has proven that it can work. This also, finds expression in why we went to the polls to vote. Because amongst others, one of the fundamental things that people, had cause to complain about was the fact that there were, we saw some semblance of injustice and, the waning of the confidence that people had in our state institutions or our, our independent institutions. That you would notice that even within the judiciary, people could predict the outcomes of decisions. That even fine with the EC, people could also predict, But at least I am getting the sense that look, we are shifting towards a more accommodating, process where people should be allowed to make administrative mistakes. Because if you make administrative mistakes, that should not lead necessarily to the removal of somebody who is occupying, a very sensitive institution. The democracy that we are enjoying in this country is not by reason of the actions or omissions of specific governments. It's because Ghanaians have intentionally and deliberately decided that we are going to enjoy democracy. But what is also very instructive is that we must have institutions that will support that agreement by Ghanaians that we want to enjoy democracy, which is why the performance or otherwise of Electoral Commission, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the Judiciary and all of that, is very, very crucial in that conversation. So I just simply want to say that we should let sleeping dogs lie. If tomorrow there is evidence to support anybody's allegation that the Electoral Commission is not fit for purpose, or the commissioner is unfit to occupy that position, I think we can present same. But just to go on a certain frolic by reason of our disagreements, I believe, it's neither here nor there. We must protect, independent state institutions.
Very well. Thank you very much, Kwame. Let me go to Honorable. Honorable. Your party stands in the position when it comes to these issues. I'm not sure about what your followers will be thinking right now. Because many of them, expected that the EC and the OSP should be leaving the office by now.
Yes, let me bring greetings to your viewers and especially those watching me from Central, my constituency. I must say that I was highly disappointed yesterday. Unlike my very good friend who is elated. I must not hide my disappointment, and I felt that it was as an engineer, not like my fellow friends who are lawyers. In my private mind, thought that there were enough grounds for the removal of this lady, especially misbehavior and incompetence. Citing an example of what happened during the 2024 elections, where for a very long time he could not even compute the results of the presidential elections. I mean, it's documented that he could not do it, and there was a lot of confusion, except that Ghanaians are that patient, and we had to tolerate this misbehavior and incompetence. And you could see the arrogance of power. I was in Parliament when most of the time this lady came there, and you could see her posture, that she felt there was no need to give respect to anybody. And I mean, that misbehavior also is a good grounds for removal. But I think my very good friend has laid down the procedure that the president receives a petition, in this case about 7, whooping 7. And he asked
find it a bit
I find it
uncomfortable that the CJ never found anything.
Yeah, that is left of the hook. Yes,
petitions that were sent in.
Exactly, especially for what I've enumerated. And President has to send the petition to the Chief Justice. In this case, Bafo-Boni, I think way back in January, and he had about how many days? I think some 90 days or so to make sure that it goes through and finds something. In this case, he's done his research or this, and he never found anything. And the report is sent to President, and instead of going to form a committee to delve into the district, that was curtailed because the Chief Justice could not find. But the President couldn't have
made that up if the Chief Justice believed that there's nothing against the person.
Yes, exactly.
You don't expect.
Yeah, it's truncated.
The Chief Justice says
this is so.
Otherwise,
you can't blame the President because the procedure was truncated by the Chief Justice not finding any, what the lawyers say, prima facie. So
all the blame goes to the Chief Justice now.
Well, you can't blame him. I can't blame, but my personal, I don't want to be caught pants down. So let me say that they said if judgment is given, you can then criticize. So I'm just criticizing, and I'm not very glad about that because during her tenure, when I was communicating on various platforms, I said openly that this woman, if we come to power, we are going to remove her. She will be the first person to go openly. I said it several times, and I had very good reasons for that. And so I was looking forward to that.
But was it a clear representation of the party's position in terms of what you saw or what the party saw happening at the time? Or it was just you feeling the way you feel?
No, I think it was a general feeling that she was biased towards NDC. I mean, you could see what used to happen at IPAC. And so I'm friendly to the NDC. And she did all she could to make sure that we will lose the election. But I think the results were so overwhelming that there was nothing she could do about that. That's why the NDC won. But if he had been very close like the previous one, he would have done her magic again. So, I mean, it is obvious that it's clear that the previous elections, in my opinion, the NDC won. And that's why she could not even compute the results. And you see what happened at the parliamentary section. I mean, many places, this one has won, then the results will be changed and all that. I mean, so many things did happen. And I believe that there was, in my opinion, enough grounds for her to go. As for the SP, Special Prosecutor, I've never liked the idea of having a special prosecutor. When I was in Parliament, I was not happy. Because everybody thought that was going to stop corruption in our system. And I agreed that no, there was no way this was going to add anything to the fight against corruption. And people argue. I had some arguments with other people that this one there is good. Oh, no, I said, no, this one. And you could see what went on. The first SP came out to say that Akufo-Addo was the mother serpent of all corruption. Yes, because he was not having the free hand to operate. So I felt that was just waste of the nation's resources. And the man left, and this one also came, and for a very long time, I've not seen any change in our social setup at all with regards to corruption. And I would have loved that if that position was scrapped completely. And so I was thinking that maybe this thing would have triggered that so that we get him out, and then the conversation will go ahead for...
So something the presidents disagree, because there have been calls for him to... And he says, no, he can...
Well, he's the president, so you can't argue with him, but this is my personal opinion. Sometimes when we are speaking here, it's not always that we take the... I say my personal opinion that this one is not necessary at all in our body politic, because I had always maintained, and I think I'm proven to be right, that it has never added anything. Every time talking and you don't see what is going on, talk of recovery, and I haven't seen any recovery. Look at Oferiate's case, messed up. So something needs to be done seriously about our fight for corruption. Something which we have not found yet. But I believe that these institutions are there. We have the Chief Justice Office and I say Chief Justice, the
Attorney General's Office.
Attorney General's Office, yes, is there. And we have NIB, previously BNI, and YOCO, and all those institutions are there. So why are they not able to stop this corruption? There is something. Which is there is not establishment of further offices and all. Because always, if you go and see that office there, and I hear the amount of money which has been earmarked for the place, and nothing is happening. No, I believe that if we can have, in my opinion, if we can have our police and the judiciary working very well, we don't need any of these ones. The police and the judiciary, I believe that these are the two institutions which can fight corruption. Because in other jurisdictions, if a policeman gets a prime minister, UK, the prime minister was fined for driving when he was drunk.
Drunk driving?
Yeah, drunk driving, yes. So here it cannot happen. But over there...
Driving over speeding. It was over speeding.
Over speeding.
The Indian guy.
No, the previous one, the new one, the previous one. The previous one was drunk driving.
Oh, that is, what's his name?
I've forgotten.
Who was mayor of...
Who was, yes, who was
but
mayor.
the Indian one was also charged for over speeding.
Exactly. So, they didn't need these institutions, but the police, they are there. So, no matter who you are, if you are caught, you are caught. And when they take you to the court also, the court also will make sure that they deliver the sentence irrespective of your position. So if we can revamp these two institutions, I believe that our problems will be solved. But these YOCO, NIB, whatnot, they are all appendages of these institutions. So I believe that if this one had triggered the dissolution of the office, I would have loved it greatly. But well, these people, the lawyers and the justices, they know better. I always maintain that as an engineer, if we say it's red, you can't change it. But in law, yes, you can always argue. Yes, it's just like economics. Yes, economics, you can say that there is inflation. Somebody will say, oh, is this demand? Somebody will say demand, supply. Yeah, so it depends on the way you can argue your case. But let us see, it's also part of us. But as I said, we should try to tackle our police service and the judiciary. If these two institutions, like in other jurisdictions, if these things do work, we don't need any other thing. Okay. The police arrest you, you will make sure that he will not take any money from you. Yes, and that is why when you go outside, you all obey the law. You see the policeman, he will not harass you. He will not come after you. But the moment you offend, he will make sure that, yes. At one time, my brother in Holland, he was driving me to a place, and He got a very far place out of town, and he stopped the car and wanted to pass out water. Yeah. By the time you realize there was a policeman, a horseback, he never said anything. My brother-in-law said, I'm finished. By the time we went home, the fine was there.
Yeah.
We went to a place, we came back the same day, the fine was there. They has captured him without harassing him. He got the number of his car. So they used that one, a few hours, the rest was there. He will not confront you. So with this next time, you make sure that you do the right thing. So this is my opinion about corruption, yes.
Very well, thank you very much. Let me go to lawyer Kwame Jantuah. Lawyer.
My brother ended with corruption, but the topic is not corruption.
Well,
no, OSP.
That the OSP's office, if it's taken down too.
Yes.
Okay.
These lawyers, they want to hold it.
Good morning.
So it's relevant now, if you are talking about special prosecutor.
No, there's a lot of mischief. I can play mischief sometimes.
The lawyer never attacked at all. That's why I also went to the SP.
KMJ, let me state, I do not know the evidence that was before the CJ.
Brilliant.
I don't know the content of the evidence before the CJ. So I can only comment with regards to the green letter from the presidency.
Yeah.
And I have a copy here, reference number OPS 307/26/269, date 17th February 2026. Title, Re-petition removal of the chairperson and deputy commissioners of the Electoral Commission. Now, let me go to a portion, I don't want to read all, but a portion that, for me, felt there could be more investigation into it. But who am I? Only make my comment. I don't like going against Supreme Court judgments or court judgments, but we can comment. And I'm not trying to put a slight on the decision of the CJ. So when you go to 3, it says, by a letter, and I quote, by a letter dated 26 January 2026, the Chief Justice informed His Excellency the President that no prima facie case had been established by the petition to warrant any further investigation. The Chief Justice letter states as follows, and this is where I wonder, and it states by field, where the comments begin and close. While the allegations raise serious constitutional and administrative questions, what are the constitutional and administrative questions it raises? As I stated, I don't have the evidence in front of me. So what are these serious constitutional and administrative questions? They do not, on their face, meet the threshold. What's the threshold? What threshold are we talking about? Is it a threshold in the Constitution? What threshold is used to measure a prima facie case? It does not meet the threshold required for a prima facie determination of stated misbehavior or incompetence warranting that a committee be set up. Stated misbehavior or incompetence. Do the people of Ghana think the actions of the Chief Justice warranted a misbehavior and incompetence? So let me give an example. When you mention the results of the presidency, and it's only the chairperson who has the right to state the results of the presidential election. When you now state it more than once, is that incompetence?
Well, in a way, I mean,
it is incompetence.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But he's saying, according to the CJ, that it doesn't show incompetence or misbehavior. So it makes me wonder. The petition largely rests on conclusions of unlawfulness and bad faith without establishing. So what's the unlawfulness? What's the bad faith? What's the unlawfulness? The fact that the chairperson mentioned the presidential elections more than once. So for the chairperson, it's a question of integrity. From where I sit, anybody in any part of the world who sits as an electoral commission chair, the mere fact that people saw misconduct, if I can use that word, in the announcements of the election, they would have resigned. To keep your integrity, they would have resigned. And some of the things that followed in the election, in the process, they would have resigned. But anyway, let me go on. Of a manifest inability to perform constitutional functions, even if the Commission's actions or inactions are assumed to be erroneous, controversial. How can you say even if? Is it or it isn't?
Yeah.
This is law. Is it or it isn't? But he says, even if erroneous, controversial, or suboptimal, such shortcomings do not automatically translate into stated misbehavior or incompetence in a constitutional sense. Conclusion. The allegations disclose disputes over constitutional interpretation, administrative judgment, and institutional response to complex transitional arrangements rather than conduct so grave, personal, and culpable as to justify a prima facie determination of removal proceedings. He states it again. In conclusion, the allegations disclose disputes over constitutional interpretation. Give Ghanaians the chance to clear any constitutional interpretation that isn't clear in the minds of Ghanaians. However, it's the Constitution that does what? That rules everyone. And really, the president cannot go outside the Constitution to set up any committee to investigate it. It's gone according to the process. Chief Justice looks into it, comes out with his verdict. He says he doesn't see any prima facie case. The president can't do anything else. Currently, for me, it's up to civil society to now probably delve into it. And let's get the nitty-gritties, because you see, it would be good to take any lingerings in the minds of the public. That, we don't want that. For it to be cleared absolutely in the minds, because I don't think in the minds of Ghanaians, they feel this is a right judgment. Some Ghanaians, I won't say all Ghanaians, some Ghanaians. And for me, if I were the chair, I will try my possible best to clear my name. Yes, Chief Justice has said this, but if that still lingers in the minds of people, then I'd like to clear my name. But
you organize a press conference to explain yourself?
Yes, well, no, you find, we need to find a way, if it's civil society, to look into it deep down and come out with what they feel.
But the CJ says he finds nothing wrong with conduct.
Yes, but
how do you now come out and say?
For me, it's more the people, not even organize a press conference. It's more what the people think and whether the people feel it's a right judgment. And I think some people,
Yeah, like Honorable is saying.
Yes, some people would not agree that it's a right judgment. Who are we to say no? We can't say no. So I look at it based on the fact that the constitutional errors that they talk about, let's go into what are those errors?
She can explain that.
Look, no, the court can explain it. Look, when Chachu, is it Chachu? Yes, the Venerable Chachu
Chikata.
When his case came up, he didn't want any favors. He wanted the thing to be cleared and cleared absolutely. So it went to court and made sure that he was cleared. There are still doubts in people's mind about the behavior of the chair. So that's what the Chief Justice said. Maybe, as my brother said, let's let sleeping dogs lie. But people will be looking at 2028. and see how the Electoral Commission acts. I mean, some of the comments from Bosman were quite erroneous. Some of the things he was... for chairperson and Electoral Commission, you can't take sides. You can't take sides. You are an arbiter. You are the one who is to make sure that everything goes according to plan. You can't take sides. So let's see, maybe what will now happen, And remember, all our chairpersons have gone through certain types of processes that the people thought they were next to a party or they were not next to a party. One person, the venerable, what's his name?
Farijan, okay.
In the beginning, there was ajibaji everywhere. In the end, it turned out that he became the love of...
One of the finest.
Yes, one of the finest.
Yeah.
So let's hope and pray that this particular situation will also pertain with my good friend Jean. That going forward, that kind of accolade that Afarijan got, she too will be able to move into that line so that people will be satisfied and know that. Because election causes war. If it's not handled properly, it causes war. It causes so many upheavals. It's just that the Ghanaian attitude is such that when it gets to a certain point, we pull back. 2012, it was 2008, one of them, where on that Saturday afternoon, you could cut the air with the knife. The tension was so strong. That's where I said Equatorial War, his battle. Yes, I think it was 2008. But Ghanaians pulled back. And that is one thing Ghanaians are good at doing. But we need a special electoral commission that is balanced and does not even attempt to get into politics. I believe that the Electoral Commission should listen to political parties more. When political parties call for a particular session, they should heed to it and say, okay, let's sit and talk. Because I feel Jean Mensa can become the mother of elections. I kept saying it during the time that hers is to be a mother of elections. When the NDC quitted the going to IPAC, she should have gone to them and said, guys, A, B, C, D, E, don't let us do this. It is not good for our country. Please come back. But it was left in abeyance for so long a time, which for me wasn't a good thing. Where OSP is concerned, I have never, ever thought the OSP should be removed. It's an initial thing. That office is not a small office. Definitely, he would make certain mistakes, but does it really affect his work? Maybe it's a question of understanding exactly what the OSP does. Yes, there are certain things that were knee-jerk. Some of the things he said at some of the press conferences, you could see it was very infantile. But give it to him. He's also growing in the position. And I think going forward, from all the experience that he's had, he will turn out to be quite a good OSP going forward. So that is what the Chief Justice has come out with. That's what the courts have come up with. Let's move on.
Okay, sure.
Just to add. Just to add. And I really love the last submission that he made relative to growth. That we should allow people grow in their positions. I don't want us to get to a point where it is almost as if a person's position is coterminous with an administration. That because NDC appointed this person, once NDC exit, it should stop. You should stop it at some point. And which is why I disagree vehemently with my senior, when he states that he was disappointed. Of course, senior has raised very important questions relative to the release. Because all of us seated here do not have the benefit of the evidence. That way, so presented. No. We don't have it. So we can conjecture, but we are conjecturing based on the release.
Based on release.
Okay. So those fundamental questions raised, in my respectful opinion, ought to be addressed. Because if you talk about some constitutional breaches, then it means it goes to the heart
of the Constitution.
Of the conversation. You get the point. So those questions must be answered. But I agree 100% with Senior when he alludes to the fact that, look, she should be the mother of elections in this country, just as Dr. Afarijan did.
Yes.
We are all not pious. We all make mistakes, but if there is some willfulness behind the action, that is when people will raise concerns. I can agree that there's some settled, hopeless expectation of a better performance in the future, on the part of I can agree because of the experiences we've had, all of that. Yeah. But I believe that we should just give, chance a chance.
Benefit of the doubt.
And see going forward.
But I also, if you heard him right, he said, no, some of the mistakes were unpardonable.
Absolutely. We are on the same page.
So
but
why is it that you
must not be the overall disappointment on the judgment? Maybe that's the reason.
So why is it that we have to give you the benefit of the chance to grow into it? No, we put you there to perform.
You see,
so if you don't perform, you have to go out.
No, but
that is okay. I have to allow you to.
That is why we have.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
President Mahama's first term,
yes,
and President Mahama's second term, yes. Are they the same?
No, he went. That's why he was taken out.
Is it the same? No, I mean in his performance.
Not the same.
It's not the same.
But you can't use that
into the position.
Yes, but you can't use it as guinea pigs.
So you want the EC?
Yes, what she did. Yes, if she goes and learns her mistakes, because what she did could have ended the country in a war.
No.
The performance of her work in the first instance was very bad. Like you said, it was because of the Ghanaian attitude. And that's why we survived. So why should we forgive her?
But it's the same Ghanaian.
If actually she did,
our democracy.
Yeah.
This is the same.
So if actually she did wrong, why should we allow her to say that?
We are only 30 years old.
And Ghana,
we're only 30 years.
That means everybody in position.
Only 30
quickly
years.
touch on the OSP matter. I think both seniors have dealt with it quite eloquently. Except to add that I had my personal issues with the OSP because I petitioned the OSP in relation to the 13th All-African Games. And I asked them to investigate the matter. They never did. It was later, when MPP left office, that they placed a call to me that I should come and assist them. I didn't go. Because I thought that what I needed, that petition to achieve at the time, did not. So I have my issues with them. However, like Senior said, the guy is growing. He is beginning to understand his office, the implications of it, the ramifications of it. Let's allow him make mistakes and learn. That is how people grow. You understand what I'm saying?
But also the nature of that office is a very sensitive place to
precisely.
Giving anybody chance, should come with a certain responsibility of even the person knowing that the position that I occupy is very sensitive. But if the mistakes continue.
When we arrest an armed robber, we should tell the armed robber, we are giving you a chance.
I think you are overstressing it. I think you are overstressing it.
An opportunity.
But the point is, I just wanted to quickly make this point that Senior will tell you, that's why we have lower courts and we have, that the lower court judge may pass a judgment. That in his estimation is the right judgment. You appeal and then the judgment will be okay. It doesn't mean that the judge did not deliver. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why, so if there are different avenues for redress, I don't expect, reasonably so, that by reason of maybe non-performance or inability to perform, a certain duty should warrant an absolute removal. If that action is willful enough, that is why, even though Senior tells you that if you look at Article 146 and the things that it speaks about, that there should be stated misconduct, there should be incompetence. Those things are not explained in the Constitution.
Exactly.
It's just by conventional practices that we have come to.
Based on interpretation.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So then, when you read some articles, it tells you that there must be some deliberate wrongdoing. Do you understand? Of the person's action, which will lead to a certain result. That should warrant a petition. That should warrant the Chief Justice in arriving at the decision that yes, there's a prima facie evidence, which means that there's a rebuttable presumption. Because then, if the evidence so adduced is one that is incontrovertible, then the CJ will say, okay, well, then let me establish a committee for us to look into the matter. So it is a multiplicity of factors. I can agree. Politically, we may have issues with it.
But legally,
we may not have issues with it.
Because that's what's the threshold?
We don't know.
What's the threshold?
We don't know.
Yes.
We don't know.
So if they had explained what that threshold was, then we can delve into it and see whether that threshold really is something that we can use for or against.
But what I'm not in favor is that you all agree that there were some mistakes. done. And yet you are saying that we should allow her to grow into it.
No, I mean, why? You're not a lawyer.
Yes. If
An engineer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, one-way track.
Oh, yes. Because I was a marine engineer. There's no
ifs or buts. The law isn't like that.
Because if you are pumping oil and then the slight amount goes into the sea, you are packing your bag and going home. Yeah, you can't say that.
Yeah.
If machine something, I ask you to machine some this by 0.1 millimeter, and you make it 0.2, you say that, oh, it's only 0.01. Yeah. No. It's not acceptable. You have to go home. Yes. So we must
the law
apply the
is
same
different.
thing.
That's why you have plaintiff and you have defense. It's different.
Competing argument.
Well,
Anyway, let me engage my viewers. You can send your messages to us on our WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp is active. I'll be reading some of your messages very soon. You can also do so on Facebook. We're streaming live, and you can share your thought with us. This segment is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise, still folks, Papa Pafi, and of course also Kwame Natural Fruit Juice. And you definitely want to make sure you get one for yourself today as you go about your daily activity. But there's one thing though that I want us to look at real quick on this very issue, and then we'll move on to the cocoa issue. It's the position of the CJ as against political decisions by many people, even before this got into where it has got into right now. Does it put the CJ in a certain position that this is the person that we all are expecting, that depending on which divide he belongs to, he'll be able to make decisions based on what is in front of him?
Yeah. I mean, look, the people's political affiliations are not supposed to be any secret, you know. But because of the kind of politics we practice in this country, we all hide our political affiliations, you know.
I don't hide mine.
Yeah, but one thing is very, very instructive, that we needed to reset the judiciary. Perception is very important. And if you look at the Corruption Perception Index, you would notice that the judiciary found serious expression in the if you like, the appraisals, you know, in relation to our corruption perception. So we just needed to reset the judiciary. Now, whether Justice Bafuboni, his lordship, is resetting the judiciary or not, I think is glaringly axiomatic that he is. If you look at how he's conducted himself, if you look at the reforms that he's introducing, I believe right now even we've changed the time for court. I believe from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. You know, so there are some progressive reforms that we are seeing, and also, you know, he is not kowtowing to political pressure. You know, that one would have expected, to be honest with you, because the people. So the reason why a lot of people were a little taken aback was because they were expecting a certain outcome. A certain outcome.
Yeah.
You know, but we are seeing the law work in a manner that does not please anybody. Albeit that I agree entirely with Senior's position that we don't have the explanation. But there's some semblance of rule of law at play here. What is rule of law? That there is some predictability and there's some certainty. That at the end of the day, if a petition is forwarded to the president and he sends him to the Chief Justice, due diligence will come into play, that the Chief Justice will exercise his obligation to the Constitution and not to the appointor. So for me, I am seeing that in Justice Bafuboni, that he's discharging his obligations irrespective of who appointed him. That is what is most important. That we are building a democracy where justice will be delivered not on the basis of political affiliation or partisanship, but justice will be delivered on the basis of evidence so adduced. Evidence which may or may not support another person's claim. Like Senior said, when people go to court, the expectation is that the evidence that is adduced must either support a person's claim or not. They are competing arguments.
Yes.
Now, your competing argument will not suffice if you don't have evidence to back it. So that is what it is. If you claim...
And apart from that, that evidence to back it should also be backed by the law that you're using to, what? Argue your case.
You see. So once there's that predictability and certainty, for me, it is clear that at least we are making some progress. See, KMJ, we have a very young democracy. And I've often maintained, now regurgitate,
30 years.
that 30 years, very young.
Very young.
That you have, the legislature, you have the judiciary, you have the executive, you have civil society organization, you have the media. All of us have different roles to play to ensure that we strengthen our young democracy. But if it gets to a point where it is unpredictable how the judiciary will act in relation to some political matters, then that's problematic.
That is serious.
That's problematic. If it gets to a point where in Parliament, people are gravitating towards a certain position by reason of the executive, or because the executive is the one that is asking them to so do, then that's problematic. I am not calling for absolute independence because that is not possible. But I'm asking for people to pack their conscience behind their actions. Because you are not there to serve your interests. You are there to serve the Constitution, by extension, the people of this country. Because the Constitution was built on the sweat, the blood, the toil of the good people of this country. So if you have been given a work to do it dispassionately, no matter whose ox will be God. So that is what I think is happening. So I commend
the CJ for this.
Yeah, because
100%.
He's talking about rule of law, just because the thing went his way. So we cannot.
But honorable.
Because
do you think the CJ is on a good path or not?
The CJ?
Yeah.
No, in my case, it didn't go my way, so I feel that there's no rule of law. Like he is saying that because we have to
be balanced. Be balanced.
Allow
the fact that didn't for you, be balanced.
Allow the CJ to grow into the
OSP and the EC.
They should allow them to grow into the job, to learn on the job and all that. So they agreed to that. So it means that there's rule of law. Because
but you're misquoting. That is not what you said.
No, because
misquoting.
No. Because if they have been removed, then there have not been any rule of law.
But they also mentioned the other side of the issue.
Yes.
And said, so it's not just that they felt that they should just grow in
But my good friend is saying that now we can feel the rule of law working just because the Chief Justice did not kowtow to the political pressure.
But you agree that there was political pressure?
I don't know.
No, but
that's where you stand.
How was there any political pressure?
You and many others actually wanted this to happen.
Yeah,
even the seniors.
But I'm not.
And you know an NDC.
But I don't determine. It's the president. So we can say for sure that president will not put any pressure on this man. But we were expecting that for the reasons given, a lot of reasons, like my very good friend gave cogent reason, especially for the elections. And that was good grounds enough. Yeah, if he could have plunged this country into a big confusion, because the results of a presidential election was announced about 3-4 times. Every time you add it and the percentages will not add to 100. I mean, how come? With all the expertise you have and the people around you, you add results and they will be short of 100. I mean, this is gross incompetence, and it's not acceptable because he was manipulating the results.
So you think the CJ should have just...
In my opinion, so there's no rule of law.
Okay.
For me, the fundamental question is whether the president should continue to elect or choose the chairperson for the electoral commission.
That's a long-term discussion, yeah.
It is something we should really look at, because that is where it brings this partisan flavor in there. That, President Mahama Nefano, President Akufo-Addo Nefano, President Nefano, Inti, or NDC, or NPP, or CPP. No. Let them open it up for people to bring applications in and state why they feel they are best for that position. And so they come in and they do what? They work
for the people,
irrespective of partisanship. And they should be able to stand their ground when there's political pressure.
True.
When there's political pressure. Because you see, with this job, nobody goes to school on it. As a CG, when you get in there, you're also learning on the job. And apart from that, the people who are already there can influence you.
It's not
by some of the things, what do you call it? The EC. Can influence you because they have been there. There are certain characters that they are used to, so they'll come and like any position. Hey, Mr. Jantuah, I had it. So you, as the chairperson, or you as the leader, should make sure that there are certain things you don't fall into, and you straighten your structure. So that is, for me, that's the fundamental question we should look at. Should the president still be choosing? And I'm not sure. It's an entrenched clause in the Constitution, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it will need a referendum
to
change that. But we should look at it and let people apply that, yes, I'm fit to be a Chief Justice, then we move on. So let's move on.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Let's talk about the cocoa sector a bit. Maybe we've got a few minutes to do that. The cocoa board is paying, they've actually commenced a payment of 50,000 metric tons of cocoa, and they're disbursing about 237 million Ghana cedis for that purpose. Now, they also believe that they're supposed to have some salary cuts and all of that. The issue about cocoa board and cocoa sector, let me start off with Honorable. Honorable, you promised that you're going to make cocoa farmers comfortable. Unfortunately, it's not the case right now. Now, there have been ways and means to resolve this problem. How long are we going to see this, continue?
Yeah, I think that I've spoken at length on several platforms, and the promise that NDC gave was not that they were going to make this perpetual. I mean, at that time, the price of cocoa was about $12,000 per kilo, per ton. And it was based on that the party saw that farmers were being shortchanged. Because with the 12,000, they conjectured that they could pay them 6,000. That's why they gave them 6,500. And yet they were paying only 30% of that FOB price. So that promise was based on the current price at that time. So people are just misquoting that the NDC said they will come and pay 6,000. That is not true. So when the government came to power, then the price of cocoa dropped at the
world. You didn't see that happen, and you couldn't make that, calculation to know that there could be change.
Well,
there could be drop, and so based on that, whatever we are saying, we should factor that in.
No. If he's speaking that at this time, they said the MPP should have paid this amount. So if we are in power, we are going to pay this one at that time. So you're not talking about the future. They were talking about the present. That you have gotten this 12,000, and yet you are paying farmers this amount, which is far below the agreed price of 70%. So now you come to power and you see that the price drops. So you cannot still maintain that 6,000. I mean, let us get that right. So the price was based on that. So
that promise was not that we are going
to pay you 6,000 at any rate. No, that was not a promise. The promise is that based on what the price is now, if we were to be in power, we would have paid you this amount. So there's no controversy about this at all. Yes, and I just saw what is happening in the media space, and it's unfortunate. I've said that it's not the best. The farmers have been apologized to. I think the finance minister, when he was making his speech, he made an apology to the farmers, and it's not the best because it should have made it flat. That's why when the price goes up or down, you maintain the price. In this case, I think the difference was so much that there was no other choice than to bring the price down, especially looking at the other competitors like Ivory Coast and other places. So it is just fair. I'm not saying it's just the best. It's not the best, but...
Yes, because as far as the farmers are concerned, they don't even know that you even said that you want to do this based on what is available at the time.
Yeah, I think
the explanation to them was not
I think they understand.
Best.
They understand. So when I was on the GBC News last Friday, I started a debate that then they should also cut down their price, their salaries. And lo and behold, yesterday I saw that they have at least it's going to send a message to the farmers that there is the situation. Me, I have said that I'm a rubber farmer, so I've advocated for the situation where they would allow the prices to the world market and the city to determine. Like we, the farmers of rubber, we don't complain at all. Yes, I must say that during NPP's time, getting to the latter end, a price of a ton of rubber was sold at 13,000 Ghana cedis. That's what they were given at the farm gate, 13,000 per ton. So just imagine if you can make some of us make 20 tons, multiply by 13, it's what, 260,000. 260,000 Ghana cedis. Now, because of the strength of the cedi, the same 20 tons, 1 ton is now 8,000 Ghana cedis. 8,000. So just multiply 8 by 20 is what, 160. So you have lost a whooping 100,000 Ghana cedis. But there's no problem because that is what is there.
Prevailing price.
The prevailing price. And we have been made to understand that for you there is a formula. So me, I can even calculate on my own and know that next month the price is going to be like this. And every month they furnish you with the price of the raw rubber. So you know, if you don't like, you don't sell it at that time. So I have recommended that we should follow the same thing. So when the price goes up, the windfall will go to the farmers. It is not that maybe if the price goes up like the $12,000 and they were giving this minimal, the 3,600 or something, whereas you could have paid them about 6,000. Then when the thing comes down, then like it's happening, we reduce it. It's not the best, but it's unavoidable. At this time, it's unavoidable. I think to save the cocoa industry, the price cut is unavoidable. But I would say that going forward, we must learn from the rubber system and then adopt that one. And there's nothing like giving them free fertilizer, free chemicals and all that. All those things eat into the income of the farmer. Because if you have calculated that we are going to give every farmer about 100 bags of fertilizer, by the time the fertilizer gets to the farmer, you have calculated 100, but you will not get that one. Maybe 10 or 100, but it's gone against his income. But for the rubber, no. Everything is given to you, and if you like this thing, you go and buy it. And there's no question about it. If I need a fertilizer, I go and buy it. But here's a case, Cocoa Board, they like the procurement. They didn't like, we are going to use some of your money to construct the roads for you. We are going to use some of the money to purchase chemicals. And you could see the marking up of these prices. And that is where the problem is. So I believe that we should liberalize it. If we can go this way. I'm saying that I'm a rubber farmer. And you don't...
Who do you sell your rubber to?
You can go sell to Grail, or these days they have liberalized it.
Who do Grail sell to?
Grail.
Yeah.
Grail, they just send it outside. They sell it outside.
Sell it to Firestone.
Yes.
Firestone.
Firestone doesn't work now. Firestone outside.
Yes, Firestone.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Don't you think you should be adding value to your rubber?
Exactly. We have
that's
to.
That's what you should
we
fight
have
for.
to, generally.
And when you look at the duration of a rubber tree, it's nearly, what,
70 years. No, 70
years.
Yes, yeah.
And you tap rubber throughout the year,
yes,
but 1 month, August. But 1 month.
By 1 month, yes.
Yes, by 1 month.
2 months.
Compare that to cocoa. It's a different kettle of fish. Don't compare the two.
Oh, no, but we can learn from
it's an industry I want to get into. So I'll talk to you after.
Okay. All right. Let me take your thought then on the Cocoa Board issue.
Well, I mean,
it's a good industry.
It's a double whammy issue. This Cocoa Board matter, and it's quite unfortunate that PR has failed Randy Abbey and his team at Cocoa Board, because clearly there are some underlying issues which led to the current quagmire faced by Cocoa Board. I mean, the issue of contract rollovers and things like that cannot be discounted in a conversation like this. That you undertook a contract to supply 600,000 tons. Then you supply around 400,000. There's a deficit of about 333,000 tons, which now went into the following year because you did not supply previously. Then at the time, because you did what we call forward sale, you now say sold the cocoa beans at say $2,000 now around the time, even when the price was hovering around 30. So you sold it 2,000, then you are bound by that agreement to always supply around that 2,000 something dollars, right? So it goes into next year, and even though the price has dropped, you are still bound to supply the remainder, that you are unable to supply. Obviously, that is cost. That has to be borne by Cocoa Board. So that is a fundamental issue that cannot be discounted. And I feel scandalized that whenever you raise this issue, then they are saying that, but when MPP was faced with a similar issue, they went and borrowed and they found other ways of, supporting the board. But must we continue like that? I think that we should move beyond pampering the situation and finding long-lasting solutions to it. From 1992 till about 2023, 2024, thereabout, we have always been using the syndication model. That's what we've been using. So, a consortium of banks come together, they give us money, and then, we tell them that we project that, within this period, we'll supply.
Council should stop that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Council should stop it.
Say again?
We should stop it.
Yes. You understand? So, but of course, at the time, I know that because
and you collateralize your
bills.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, we were always shortchanged by that. But at the very least, it's supported the sector a little bit. That you could now even plan, because you take the money and then you can do other things, you can disburse and all of that, give to the cocoa buying, companies to now buy and then supply to Cocoa Board, etc. I get that. But that model was truncated by reason of mismanagement. That all those monies that we took, what did we use those monies for? Because you took the monies in order that you could ensure that that sector is, well protected. But you took those monies and then you awarded contracts here and there. You took those monies and then you claim that you were buying jute sacks and then you were buying this and you were buying that, forgetting that a time will come you will not be able to meet, So let's face it. So I can agree that you vote governments out because of some mismanagement practices, right? But what is also very instructive is that even though we voted MPP out because of non-performance, it is important to always, draw the minds of Ghanaians to the mismanagement that the MPP, did to this country. The irreparable damage that was caused to specific institutions. The Cocoa Board is just one of them.
One of them.
I am telling you. The graft, the stealing, the thievery that plagued almost all the sectors of this country. So today, because you see, they are not getting anything, and I'll speak freely, because they are not getting anything to hang on to, because the economy is performing better. You understand? There's discipline.
They disagree.
Master, that one is an argument we can have. Because that one, if they come, we'll deal with it. But you see, the economy is performing better. There's respect in the system. There's dignity. People are complying with the laws. They are going about their businesses, And so
it's all a leadership.
It's leadership. So there's nothing really to complain about. So every time, I can tell you, so there are two things now. Now it's Cocoa Board, which is just a wishy-washy thing. It will pass, right? They will go back to Galamsey. You market.
Miracle about
you market.
Going around the country,
market.
Speaking to cocoa farmers.
That is the point I'm making. I'm telling you that.
Explaining to them why.
I'm telling you that if you have an administration, look, KMJ, we are laughing, but it's a serious matter. When I was growing up in the village, I grew up in the village. I grew up in Asante Mampong at the time. It was urban, but not.
That's my hometown.
Yeah, I grew up in Asante Mampong, Zongo Mayanka. That's what I did. Then I grew up in Achimasafo, which was it was a village at the time. And at the time, cocoa farmers were the richest.
Yes.
They had money. All the nice buildings that we saw in the village, where they belong to cocoa farmers. So if you have mismanaged the setup because they thought that it was a cash cow, they will just buy things and then mismanage and run the institution down. And then you want to use your own failures as a means to get at this government. It will not work.
Okay.
Finally.
Yeah, wrap up for me.
Finally, I just want to admonish the new regime and to say that the reforms that they are talking about, they must make sure that they see to it and follow through with every reform that they are bringing out. And they are looking at a number of them, that they want to look at, raising domestic bonds. As to whether or not people would have confidence to invest in that is another matter because of the haircut. You see, there are so many things I want to talk about. You see, these people, even DDEP, Cocoa Board was part of it. Do you know that? Exactly. The haircut affected Cocoa Board.
The gradual process.
So then you come and you paint a gloomy picture as if, Randy Abe and his team are the ones who are running the institution down and things like that. I'm saying that it's a PR deficit.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much. Council, let me take your view and then I'll do some few messages and then
let me start from where he left. The MPP should stop that seditious mindset they have when they come into power. To stop that seditious mindset and concentrate on the work. When you look through all the SOEs, there are challenges all through.
A lot of them.
Challenges all through. If I tell you some of the things that have happened with companies like Prisia Sankofa Gold Mine, if I tell you some of the things that have happened there, you'll be surprised. That seditious mentality should stop. Now, where Cocoa Board is concerned, let me do a comparison. The British, 1947, they set up Cocoa Board. What was their reasons? Economic control, to be able to regulate and stabilize the cocoa trade, ensuring a steady supply of cocoa to British chocolate manufacturers. 2, quality control, to improve cocoa quality and enforce standards of export. 3, price stabilization, to protect British interests by controlling prices and absorbing fluctuations in the global market, and taxation, to generate revenue for the colonial government through taxes on cocoa exports. What about today? What does Cocoa Board do? Let me go into that quickly. What's the mandate? 1, and remember, cocoa price stabilization was the first one. Ensuring fair prices for farmers with a guaranteed minimum of 70% of gross FOB price. It's not to the British government. It's price stabilization. Quality control, maintaining high quality cocoa standards. Research and development, which wasn't in the previous one. Improving cocoa yields and disease resistance. And for me, this is the most important one. Farmer support. Providing support services and inputs to farmers. Then the last one, local processing. Increasing domestic cocoa processing to boost value addition and job creation with a target of processing 50% of cocoa beans locally by 2026-2027. And then transparency and accountability. These 2 don't seem to have worked with Cocoa Board. Farmer support, local processing. For me, what we should be looking at, what do we need to do where Cocoa Board is concerned to restructure it? What is required to restructure Cocoa Board? Taking what the British put in and taking what we have now. How can we restructure it in such a way that it becomes super efficient? Number 2, because of price fluctuations where cocoa is concerned, and I'm a cocoa farmer. My farm is in Carrier. My father left us a big cocoa farm. To be able to protect the farmer, we need to have a sinking fund for farmers. So that if there's price fluctuation, where prices go down, we can support the farmer. A cocoa farmer today cannot tell you that their cocoa, they can use it to go and buy a car that they would want, or even build a house that they would want, or even be able to say that, my cocoa, I bring sikapa. They can't say it today, but they should be able to say it. They should be able to say it, because for the last 60 years, cocoa has been the mainstay of this country. And we owe it to the farmer. He was talking about during his time. Nkrumah made sure that he set up a system where cocoa farmers were rewarded. Unfortunately, the Cocoa Board today and how we handle cocoa today, we've gone away from our core mandate.
True.
And doing all sorts of things. So the money will come in, then we use it to do all sorts of things.
Yep.
And sometimes those things are done because roads and highways don't have the money to do the roads. So they go into
support.
support for the cocoa board. And who are we to say don't do that? But you see, this is where government should put their foot down and make sure that they stick to the core mandate. I believe if they're able to stick to the core mandate, a lot of these challenges will be sorted out.
Very well. I've had firsthand when it comes to cocoa board because.
And let me add, Galamseys have come to me to say, oh, I said over my dead body. Because for me, yeah. What we want to do with our farm is to get a processing plant on there to what? Process the beans. Mm-hmm. Because you get more money processing than exporting raw. So it is something we should look at the structure.
Yeah. Okay. My dad was quality control division, cocoa board at the time. And so, following him, moving around and seeing cocoa farmers at the time, and how respected they were, and how rich most of them were. I mean, and what we are seeing now. Can you guys help me with production? Please help me. Okay. I think we're having issue.
I wanted to hear the comments. We
can resolve that.
Isn't it on your phone?
Yes. Let's see if we can resolve.
Doesn't it come on your phone?
No. Oh. This is from the back bench. So let me see how we can do these ones. Maybe I'll just take your comments and then we'll wrap up because really, I'm not able to read that. Unfortunately,
this is an important part of the program.
Yes, unfortunately.
Important part of the program.
I want to sincerely apologize to
Lady Sheila, please do something about it. We want to hear what people
Sheila, they say do something about it. Please. I'm sure they're trying their best at the backbench and see how
part of the show. I really enjoy these bits, especially when they insult me.
I know. Your friends.
Yes,
you're good friends. You're good friends. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can get some of the messages on Facebook. And then we can read them quickly. It's not giving me the option to do that, but okay. All right. Let me say a big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise and Koa Natural Fruit Juice for helping us this morning with News Flash. I think that my time is up, unfortunately. And so we have to go. But a quick one.
Okay, I think. Now, President Mahama has announced that they are now going to process about some percentages of our cocoa, and I think it's a good call. We are able to process it like into chocolate, into Milo, and the rest. I mean, the price fluctuation cannot affect it, and that will give the farmers some reprieve. If we allow the system to continue like it had been, then we will be in trouble because, as our good friend said, what the previous administration did was so bad. The syndicated loan, which was to purchase cocoa, was not used for the right purpose. Instead, they ended up in cocoa rows, which were not actually even constructed. And $48 million was sunk into juice sacks, which will last us for the next maybe 10 years, which is not important because they are interested in the procurement. That's where they can make the money. But if the money is sent to the farmers, I mean, they are not going to get anything at all. So every time we go back to Nkrumah's time, Nkrumah foresaw this one. That's why he built these silos. Okay, the purpose of these silos was sometimes to store the bean in case the world market price was below what the production stage was. So this should be revamped. If President Mahama says he's going to do a good job, even if you are going to process it, you have to store it and make sure that if we are not able to process for the time being and the price of the market price is not good, we can hold it, yes, for some time. And if the prices go up, then we just can get out.
Very well. Let me see if I can read some of the messages. This one is from Akonsi Gariba in Tamale, and it says the current Chief Justice not finding prima facie case against the EC leadership and the OSP was just to do a damage control after the justice system has been politicized by President Mahama and the NDC party, which led to the removal of Chief Justice Tokunu. However, was there a prima facie case against the Chief Justice Tokunu, which led to her removal in office? Unfortunately, the NDC administration administration has forgotten that their stay in government is temporal, and the next administration shall also remove any chief justice who has been appointed by President Mahama for abusing power. My regards to Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawa. Let me go to the next. Can you go to the next one for me? The CJ is not fit for purpose. She should come out with his with a full. He should come out with the full findings, and he will be told why he is not fit for purpose. Salifu in Tamale. Okay. Truthfully, President John Dramani Mahama has demonstrated qualities of decisive and principled leadership, and the impact of his recent agenda is increasingly evident for all to observe. Reflecting on the events leading up to the elections, many would have concluded that the conduct of the Electoral Commission warranted immediate removal at all costs. However, the president chose to allow due process and the rule of law to prevail. This is the kind of nation we aspire to build, one in which citizens can confidently seek justice and protection through lawful institutions. It's therefore unsurprising that some observers have remarked that such an approach might not have been possible and might not have been possible under certain previous administration. In any case, commendations to our distinguished panelists for their insightful contributions. Good morning. BG David sent in that one. Can I get to the next one? It says, good morning, KMJ. When Justice Bafuboni realizes that removing the former CJ will be to his advantage, that was done quick. KMJ, the meaning of Bonnie in Chi is sin. Oh, come on now. Come on now. So you'll be sinning everywhere. I therefore suggest a petition for his removal. Already? Ramani Kitampo, easy. This is Bonnie. Bonnie, not Bonnie. Michael from Springton says, good morning, KMJ, and to your panelists. I'm happy to hear that the Chief Justice did not find any prima facie case in this petition, which will later be told by the NPP press that it is a political witch hunt. This is the same Chief Justice the NPP minority were trying to stop his vetting for him to become Chief Justice, saying that he is not going to give them a fair hearing when the NPP case is in court. I thank God that fair judgment was given. Please, NPP should be the last party to make any comment in this cocoa issue because they have messed up the cocoa sector. Thanks you all. All right. Good morning, KMJ. In fact, your panel this morning have tried all means to defend this insensitive and deceptive government. It's laughable when I hear people argue that the economy is doing well. Meanwhile, the government can't pay teachers, nurses, contractors, and cocoa farmers. The reality is that the economy is only good on paper, but go to ground and see how people are crying for lack of money in the system. What kind of deceptive government are we experiencing? Abdul Razak Tamale sent in that. Anas from Asin South says, good morning, KMJ. I think the issue is not about when there is a change in government. Heads of institutions must automatically be changed. But considering that what the current EC bosses and SP have done, they must at all costs be changed to save the institutions they occupy in Ghana as a whole. There are enough grounds to warrant their removal. It's not about removing them because there's a change in government. The cardinal sins of these institutions against Ghanaians are extremely serious and therefore must not continue to stay in those offices. Those institutions must also be reset, and that's in a South. Hamza in PIFAM says, good morning, my brother. Truth be told, I don't know why some journalists keep in this country keep on asking the government in power to fulfill the promise they made to farmers when they were in opposition. I don't think this is fair to government. Government only made those promises at a time based on the world market price. As we speak now, the world market price has been reduced drastically. So how can someone be calling government to pay the cocoa farmers based on the promise they made? Let's be fair to ourselves in this country. My brother, if anyone could shortchange cocoa farmers in this country, certainly will not be President Mahama. But I'm happy auditing is going on at the Cocoa Board for us to see what went wrong. The heads must roll. And a few on Facebook. Jonas on Facebook says, AKA, where is the 24-hour economy? Please tell John Dramani Mahama that dismissing the petitions to remove the EC and OSP won't put food on our tables. We need a 24-hour economy. Our job, 3 shifts. It's been a year, getting to 2 years in office. Yet Gusi Tano is being paid every month as the coordinator, while the policy itself has become NDC's nightmare. John Mahama, we need the automatic nurses, teachers placement as you promised because graduates are home jobless. Why can't you keep these promises? President Akufo-Addo rolled out free SHS upon assumption of office, and that commitment. Fellow Ghanaians, please let reconnect with the MPP. Regards to Honorable Boache. The current Chief Justice not finding prima facie case against the EC leadership and the OSP was just to do a damage control. I think I've read that on the other side. Teacher Kojo says, why would the NDC government sit idly while its people destroy our forest reserves and water bodies for their selfish interest or personal gain? Then the government looks for money to repair the degraded forest and water bodies. Why are we wasting money unnecessarily in this country like that? As the party members and NDC politicians who are destroying our forest reserves and water bodies, and leaders should stop them. Greetings to Honorable Eric Nana. Okay, so those are some of the messages you sent on Facebook as well, and that's my time for testimony on this very segment.
I didn't do my last
I'm happy that.
I'm happy that the pressure here is.
I'm happy.
Pressuring.
I'm happy that people have such high expectation of this government. It tells you that we sank so low.
Okay.
But I think that expecting a government of just about
1 year
to fix a problem
all the problems
which we were caused in 8 years. I think
I was asking for too much.
Isn't it laudable that they've been able to pay DDEP?
Yeah, DDEP.
Okay, that's my time this morning. A big thank you to Kwame Jantuah, member of the CPP.
And I think they are paying the cocoa. They are paying the cocoa farmers. They have started paying the cocoa farmers. Yes. We forgot. They are paying them.
There's hope.
It's the former MP.
There's hope. There's hope.
They have started paying, yes.
A big thank you to Kwame Jantuah for joining me this morning. It's also the President Accountability Forum and a lawyer as well joining me. We should see you here more often.
I would love to.
Yeah.
With my two big brothers.
Absolutely.